I become burnout, I get bored. So I start to get bored. And the minute I start to get bored, I start to realize all the things I don't like about something I'm doing. I think we lie to ourselves. What I mean by that is I think people it's like when they say, I hate my job. Almost all the time, you don't hate your job, you hate your life. You hate what you're doing outside of your job. This burnout is just overwhelmed. It's like your phone has too many things open at one time, and you got to just go in and start cleaning them all out. You got to reset the phone. You're burnt out from this. This is what you're burnt out on.
I want to talk about the issue of burnout. I never talk about that, and I want to know, have you ever had it?
Yeah, I mean, I think burnout comes all the time when you're an entrepreneur.
I imagine we just never talk about it. I know it has to happen because you're human and you go at 40,000 miles an hour. So what do you do with that? How do you handle it?
Well, now I handle it through awareness, self-awareness.
Okay,
I mean,
so let's go back to that. How do you know when it's happening?
I think, first of all, when I become burnout, I get bored. So I start to get bored. And the minute I start to get bored, I start to realize all the things I don't like about something I'm doing. So instead of being highly focused and driven, I don't even care if the result is great. I start to get bored with something and I don't even want to, I immediately only see the negatives in it. So that's something I have to work through to see. Then I have to qualify it. Is it, as Joe Polish says, is it ELF, easy, lucrative, and fun? Or is it something that's half, hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating? And so I will go through a little tool and kind of say, okay, do I just not like doing certain aspects of this? Do I not like managing the people that are doing the process? Is this the frustrating part? Why am I bored? Is it too slow for me and it's not equal? Burnout to me is not always about the work that I'm putting in. It's about the time that I'm getting, that I'm putting in, and the result that I may or may not be getting. And so, that's a self-awareness thing. Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Do I really like it? Do I not like it? And so that's one thing. The second thing is I think physically and mentally burnout. And that happens as well. And that's where when I get burnout or I found myself burnout in different times of life, I'm immediately writing down everything that matters. Am I doing the things that because I think we lie to ourselves. So what I mean by that is I think people it's like when they say, I hate my job. Almost all the time, you don't hate your job, you hate your life. You hate what you're doing outside of your job. You're frustrated in a relationship. You're frustrated in your inability to afford something. You're frustrated you have all these other things that are encapsulating, and you're blaming the job. I can't tell you how many performance reviews I've been in where I'm just feeling burnout at work. Tell me about everything else going on in your life. And it's an utter tornado. It's an absolute chaos. And that's not just my interpretation of what other people have fed me. That's what I've found in my own life. That's what I've seen. Sometimes I'm blaming this for something that has nothing to do with that. I'm burnt out, but I haven't identified what I'm actually burnt out on. So I think the way that you get around that is you go through life, LIFE, and you kind of lay out what are the things that have me, overwhelmed. Because burnout is just overwhelm. It's like your phone has too many things open at one time, and you got to just go in and start cleaning them all out. You got to reset the phone, right? And so I just take a pause and I reset. And then I'm able to kind of reshuffle or refocus. I'm also able to say, okay, am I really frustrated with my relationship? Or am I just frustrated because I don't have time to invest in my relationship? So maybe I am burnt out at work. And I need to create space, take a quick 3-day vacation. It's amazing what happens when you go away and you come back and you're rejuvenated, right? But it's that self-awareness, I think, that comes in. And when I was younger, I don't think I saw the light at the end of the tunnel as much as I probably could have or should have. And what I mean by that is you put your head down and you work and you wake up and it's a decade. it's how all of us, like, you think back to being on the news every day. Like, it's the same thing every day, and you just do it. And then you wake up one day and you're like, I don't know. You're watching your kids get older. You're watching everyone around you do stuff that you can't ever do. Like, there are lots of things you can do. Like, I could take off in the middle of the day and go to any kid's field trip. I can be at the school. I can do lots of those things. But gosh, it needs to be on my schedule like 3 to 5 weeks in advance. Because when stuff pops up, a lot of times I'm like, oh my gosh, now I got to move this, I got to move that. That's when I feel frustrated. When something more important presents itself, and then I can't do it. And then I start questioning whether or not I've prioritized the right things at that moment. Because then all I could see is the schedule full of bullshit. All I see is complete bullshit on the schedule. Bullshit, 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 waste of time, not important. And then you're like, oh, I'd rather be at King's Dominion with my son. How come I can't make this happen? So, and then you have to make a decision, right? So that goes down to core values, right? If your core values and the way you live your life are set up, you very rarely will run on empty or get burnt out, because you're constantly reassessing to identify what are your core values. What are the things that are, who are most important to me? What are the things that are most important to me?
And then kind of like, remember that in that movie Minority Report, you're like moving things around on the screen, right? Once you make that determination, like once you reset, you like move things around.
Yeah, well, I think that it's all self-awareness. I think that a lot of people don't ever get to the point, and there's a self-awareness that goes, that I believe comes to you as you age and you learn and you grow, and it's on this personal growth journey of just learning yourself, right? There's no perfect diet. You have to identify what works for your body. There's no perfect relationship. You have to realize how you were raised, what goes into this, how you respond. Like, this imperfect human is you. The better you learn yourself, the more you end up looking outside of yourself. You're standing up above yourself, seeing what's happening, and you could start to make decisions from the outside, not the inside. And that's that self-awareness that I get, that I talk about. It's like the third eye, or the feeling of just understanding there's something else that I know is here. And so if I start to feel burnout, I feel like most people look for the one thing that they don't like doing right now, and that's what they put all their energy into. I really hate, I hate doing these stupid Zooms every day. I have 20 Zooms. You know what, Renee, cancel all my Zooms, right? That's what people do. Like, I'm tired of being on Zoom. I'm on Zoom all the time. I do too many Zooms, so they just cancel their Zooms. Well, maybe I should, is it the Zooms I'm frustrated about? Is it the time I'm dedicating? Is it the quality of the meetings? Like, what are we doing here? And so the self-awareness part comes in, where you really dive deep into what's truly the issue. And if you can really know yourself, and you've gone on this journey and you start to learn, I think that's really valuable in the long term.
Are you seeing a lot of people dealing with burnout now more, or not? I'm seeing it, so I don't want to say that you are, but I'm just.
I wonder if people are getting to burnout quick enough now. I feel like people quit way too quick now. I feel like we're in a much shorter attention span world today. And so burnout comes from doing something for an extended period of time. And I feel like most people don't ever give it the time. Like, on the other side of anxiety is success. On the other side of burnout could be the same level of success. Like, when you're really at the edge of a precipice of something breaking through, it's usually because you feel like you've given everything you've got. Well, if you've given everything you've got, you probably are starting to feel burnout. Again, is it because you're aiming for something really, really special that's going to be worth it when you hit it? Or is it because you're just doing something you hate every day and it's not going to lead to anything good? Like, I think those are so do we see more of it now? I would venture to say we might see less. I think people skip, they change relationships too quick, they change jobs too quick, they change careers too quick, they hate everything about what they're doing, then they hate everything about what they're doing now. And it's because when you spend all your time on the phone looking at a bunch of people doing all kinds of cool shit, all the time, and they're just in your face, and this is where you spend most 7-8 hours a day is what most people minimum are spending on their phones right now. You're feeding your mind with garbage, not reality. You're not living in it. You know, you can't be in the moment if this is how you see it. And so I think it's hard to get to burnout when you're burnt out from this. This is what you burn out on. Like, that's the truth, I think. And for everyone, I mean, even like there are many times where I feel the same way. I'm like, oh God, I've been on this stupid phone way too long. Even if it's for work. We played a game the other night. I said, pull out your phones, everybody. What was the time that we spent on our phones today? And then everybody got super uncomfortable. And but I'm doing it as a pulse check. I'm doing it. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change teenagers right now with what they're doing, how they communicate with their friends. But I'm establishing a core value that life is not worth living if it's in your phone. The core value is you can't live your life if you're sitting on your stupid ass phone all the time. You're not experiencing true connection. You have a bunch of fake comments and think, oh wow, that was awesome, amazing. You think you have friends, but when you see them out, they're not your friends. That means they're not friends. They're not connections. This is disconnection. So what I'm doing is I'm establishing a line for my family as the father and the leader of my family. I'm like, I don't like it. And I think every one of us has too much time, so let's make adjustments together. And everybody laughs at me and moves on like most of the time, but it's in their brain. They will see that later in life and they will want to be better. And I think that's a part of it, you know? And so now they might find themselves testing it and looking, going, I don't know. So now I will hear them come in and be like, I wasn't on my phone at all today. We did this. We went to Busch Gardens. We played soccer. We had a pickup game. Like, I looked at 1 hour and 12 minutes. So now it's a win, right? So, but I'm establishing a core value for the family that this is not how you stay connected. You can't even be connected with each other.